What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jacob and Me podcast show. Oh, yes. We are back again for a new edition of, episode 20 or something like that? I think 21.
You're the one that keeps track of that.
It's like 20.
It's
like 20. It's like, I think. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, to the Jacob and Me podcast show. I am the host, Richard Rodillo, joined by the man with the noggin right here, Jacob Bullard. Say hi, Jacob.
Hello.
If you don't know what the Jacob and Me podcast show was or is, and you're here for the first time, it is a podcast show where me and my best friend Jacob here talk about anything and everything, movies, TV shows, video games, and anything else we like to jerk off to. And we also get to sports. We don't have sports today, unfortunately. And then we get to the last part of it.
Side note. I now hate the Yankees and the Mariners equally.
Okay.
That's all our sports coverage.
And we get into or take a stroll down Pennsylvania Avenue with some This Week in History. We don't have like a political topic this episode either because we have a bunch actually to do. And yeah, so let's dive into this episode of Jacob and Me. Jacob, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
How was that double steak bowl at Chipotle?
It was just as good as it always is, which is why I get the exact same thing every single time at Chipotle.
I like how I got more food than you and you paid more.
That can't be true.
Yeah, because I got the chips and queso with my burrito and a drink.
Those are what? Like, it costs like a tenth of a penny per chip.
I know, but like I got a drink too. Like I actually paid because you get the water cup.
Yeah.
And I got a drink and it came
but you
out
didn't
to
get
like
double meat.
Yeah, but I don't need double meat because I'm getting chips and queso.
Yeah, I still think I got more food than you did.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I did actually, but that's okay. Whatever.
Anyways,
it was very good though. It was muy delicioso.
Yes, I was been waiting for that since last week, so
I'm glad. I'm glad that was satisfying.
Well worth the wait.
Well met.
Yes. Oh, well, what's the first segment we're going to get into, sir?
We're going to get into the new movie and video game releases.
New movies
for this week, at least week coming anyway. Today is what, the 20th, 19th, I think. So this is going to run from
Today's the 20th.
This is going to run from the 21st through the I believe 28th for things that are coming. The first, however, is something that falls outside of that range. It's more of just like a public service announcement for those that are interested. This morning, before we recorded, I guess it would be Warner Brothers because they're the ones that make the DC movies. Warner Brothers announced that Amazon Prime members are going to have access 1 week before the release of Aquaman to see Aquaman in theaters. So, like, for example, at the Tustin Marketplace by both of us, December 15th instead of December 22nd, which is the worldwide release of Aquaman. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you can buy a ticket to a special showing of Aquaman that is a week before the premiere. And most of the theaters around, so like for us, like the Marketplace and the District both have this, and the Block, I think. And if you have AMC Stubs or A-List, or whatever, AMC A-List, you can use your A-List pass on the Amazon Prime Aquaman.
Okay. I was like, I'm not going to pay a ticket for that movie. So
boom, there you go. So if you're interested for whatever reason in seeing that movie ahead of time.
I can't wait to do the review on that movie.
I think it'll be all right. There was another trailer that came out the other day. But anyway, if you're interested and you have Amazon Prime, which honestly most people do at this point, I feel like, even though it is kind of expensive, you can get 1 week early access to Aquaman. But hurry, this is why I put it in here now, is because like there's only like 1 or 2 showings for each theater, so like they're kind of selling out, which is why I decided to put it in here now.
All right.
So there you go. But as for the more regularly scheduled movies, we're going to start off with The Green Book. Do you want to do the whole synopsis thing, or you want to just go through it?
You don't want to do it?
It's okay. Well, then there you go. The Green Book is the first one.
Green Book. Oh, I've seen the trailer, so let's have some fun with this one. All right. So, this is a story about 2 little boys. This is a story about 2 little boys. All right.
2 little boys.
2 little boys.
That's a great start.
They're in Houston, Texas. All right.
Okay.
The the problem with the two little boys is they're what do you call it when they're when you're born like together?
Conjoined twins.
They're conjoined twins,
Okay.
all right? But little do they know, in between the conjoined little bits of them, this little green book. And they don't know about this until like one of them broke their leg and they took an X-ray and they're like, "Whoa, dude, you have a green book inside you guys."
What?
How did that happen? And
Were they like at some experiment?
No, I'm getting to it. All right,
Okay.
gosh.
Well, I'm asking questions because
So the story is
that came way off the rails.
or the adventure is the medical team that tries to get the green book out and tries to salvage the pages because obviously it's inside you. Paper doesn't really go good with liquids, right? So
This is true.
they try to salvage as much as they can to find out like what is in this green book, and that's the story.
Wow. That was probably your weirdest one yet. Not gonna lie.
Wait till Aquaman happens.
I don't even want to know at this point. So the actual synopsis for the Green Book, and this movie releases. This actually has already been out or been released in New York and LA.
Yeah.
This releases Tuesday, which is today as of recording. November 20th is the worldwide release, so you guys can go check it out right away. The Green Book is about a working-class Italian-American bouncer becoming the driver of an African-American classical pianist on a... Did you think I said penis? Is that why you're laughing? Okay.
Stop saying penis, bro.
Pianist.
You said penis 3 times.
No, I didn't.
Before
Whatever.
that time. Sorry. Let me turn my phone silent.
I'm just going to start over because you derailed me from my synopsis here.
Don't say penis, though.
A working-class Italian-American bouncer becomes the driver of an African-American classical... The word was coming and I stumbled again. A African-American classical pianist.
Stop saying penis.
On a tour of venues through the 1960s American South. And I'm really sorry for completely butchering that synopsis. It was only 2 sentences. 1 sentence, actually, and I couldn't even get it out.
I love my middle school humor.
The trailer for this movie, I think, is really good. It stars Viggo Mortensen, who looks... I would not recognize him as Aragorn, but
that's why when I told you, oh look, he's guarding Black Frodo.
no, I understood the reference.
Okay,
'cause
okay.
I know that he was in Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah.
like he looks nothing like he did then.
Okay, so
That's
I'm
my
making
point.
sure.
And then Mahershala Ali plays the pianist.
Stop saying penis.
Okay, whatever.
Oh,
Moving
what's her
on.
name?
not
Velma.
moving on.
Velma from the live action Scooby Doo's is his wife, I think.
Oh, okay.
No.
I want to say it's like Lisa something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh wait, I have it right here. Linda Cardellini. Linda Cardellini.
That is true.
Viggo Mortensen's wife. Moving on. There are 3 movies of some note that are releasing this Friday, which is November 22nd. The first of which being Robin Hood. So give me your synopsis for Robin Hood.
All right, Robin Hood. It's about a bird named Hood, and he tries to save the forest with his forest friends.
A bird named Hood. Okay.
But the problem is, some of his forest friends don't, or some forest creatures don't accept him because he thinks he's a mockingbird, but really he's a robin.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
There we go. Boom.
All right.
Get it.
This is obviously the 10,000th remake of the, I guess, normal story of Robin Hood. The legend? Is that the right word? Fairy? Not if it's not fairy tale. Legend, I guess.
It's like what do you call Beowulf then? Epic?
Yeah.
Would it be an epic?
But I don't think I put Robin Hood and
Like the
Beowulf
original
in, like, the
story is
same-
probably an epic though.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Like I mean, Man in Tights kind of like derailed everything. So
A war-hardened crusader and his Moorish commander mount an audacious revolt against the corrupt English crown in a thrilling action-adventure packed... What? This sentence doesn't even make sense. Corrupt English crown in a thrilling action-adventure, there should be, packed with gritty battlefield exploits, mind-blowing fight choreography, and a timeless romance.
ooh, romance, ladies. I think that was for you guys. I'm not too sure.
Taron, is it Egerton or Egerton? I think it's
Egerton?
Egerton.
Isn't it the dude from
Kingsman.
Kingsman, he's gonna play Elton John too.
Oh yeah, you're right. He was the one playing Elton John in Rocket Man.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of his acting.
Yikes! I think he's good in Kingsman. This movie also has Jamie Foxx and Ben Mendelsohn, who I guess is most recently famous for playing Director Krennic in Rogue One.
Yep, this is true.
Yeah. Moving on.
Place Beyond the Pine too, but yeah.
He's Ben Mendelsohn has been in like a ton of movies, but like I think most people would recognize him. They'd be like, "Oh, Director Krennic from Rogue One." Yeah.
Oh, he's also in Ready Player One. He's the villain in that. He's been a villain in a lot of movies lately. Actually,
he plays a good villain.
Yeah, he does. I think I liked him in Place Beyond the Pine. He was like the supporting actor. It was really nice. And he was on the good side ish.
I really liked Director Krennic in Rogue One. I thought that was a good character.
You should watch Place Beyond the Pine. He's really good in it.
Maybe I will.
You should.
Maybe I won't.
Okay, you don't.
Come back next week and find out.
All right.
Movie number 2 releasing this Friday. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh, all right. Here we go. So it's a movie about 3 kids that are a bunch of nerds. They're a bunch of rejects. All right. One of them his name is Ralph. He comes with this sick code to get free games on Steam.
Oh, here we go.
Something goes terribly wrong, and he inputs the wrong 0, and he takes the whole internet down.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Good job, Ralph.
Way to go.
Dick.
So Ralph Breaks the Internet is 6 years after the events of Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph and Vanellope, now friends, discover a Wi-Fi router in their arcade, leading them into a new adventure.
I thought they were friends by like the end of the last movie.
Apparently they are now friends.
Okay. Well, what?
6 years later, they are now friends.
Okay.
Maybe they had a fight. This movie starring the voices of John C. Reilly. I don't know what you're going for. Okay. Sure. John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, and Wonder Woman herself, Gal Gadot.
Awesome.
Okay. Moving on.
I love John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly is pretty awesome. I'm glad he got his own like little anime like spot or shout, I guess. You know how like each kind of like actor has like a certain like animated movie they're a part of or the lead. Like Chris Pratt's the Lego movie and stuff. I'm glad like
Tom Hanks in like Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly. So like this is like his signature, I guess. Not a lot of actors do animated movies, so this is nice to have him because I think he can pull off a variety of characters. Very good actor.
Okay. Fair enough. I honestly couldn't tell you another movie that he was in, but
Step Brothers.
That's
John
I know
C.
what
Reilly.
that is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
so
one
like Talladega Nights.
Yeah, Talladega Nights.
Okay. So the Sherlock Holmes, Holmes and Watson one is coming out.
He's in this earlier part of his career. He was in more serious movies.
He was in Kong too.
He was in Kong. I'm blanking on one. He was one with who's the guy from Back to the Future, the kid. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah,
he was in a movie like a Vietnam movie with him back in the day. Yeah,
okay.
He's been acting for a while, but yeah, he does some.
I should have
decent
known who
roles. I forgot.
But like I haven't really been a fan of the like Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly movies.
Well, no, John C. Reilly doesn't just do comedies. This is why I enjoy his acting. He does just whatever he wants to do in a way. Like he did a movie with Jonah Hill and the chick from Spider-Man's Aunt May.
Oh, okay.
He did a movie with them 3, and it was like pretty. It was
the
pretty
new Aunt May.
Yeah, I forgot. I think it's called Cyrus.
Okay.
But yeah, there's certain movies that he's done in the past that I've really enjoyed. They're just I can't come up. I have to like look at it. I have to go to the Wikipedia.
Yeah. You have to cheat.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, the movie that I'm probably most excited for at least like the rest of this year. Is that true? Let me think about this, because there's like Vice and stuff like that coming out.
Oh, Vice is like my movie.
No, I still think Creed 2 is gonna be my favorite movie of the year.
Nah, Vice is mine. Next year is gonna be the Joker, but yeah.
Excuse me? Not Infinity War Part 2?
Doesn't mean number 2. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker? Come on, dude.
No, I understand, but like
that's like taking crack without taking crack.
We've been watching movies, a particular set of movies for like 10, 11 years of our lives waiting for the next Marvel movie.
Yeah, but Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, like.
All right. Anyway, Creed 2 also releases this Friday, November 22nd.
And Star Wars.
So give me. Oh yeah, there's a Star Wars next year, but that's like not till December. That's like might as well be 2 years from now.
2020. Sorry, what was the movie called?
Creed 2.
Creed. That's coming out this week.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we're gonna watch a lot of movies. Oh god. Creed 2. This is about a Roman soldier's second adventure. And then he's gonna go fight some barbarians. And then he accidentally get his dick chopped off.
Yikes!
But he already had a kid, so it's all good. And he escapes. It's kind of like Revenant or.
I actually never saw the movie, so
okay, well,
this reference is gonna go straight over my head.
Well, he basically gets mauled by a bunch of barbarians, but survives, and then takes them all out by the end of the movie, one by one.
Okay.
Until the last one, but you have to watch it to find out.
Bum 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 bum.
Revenge.
Is what's his name? Like the last one, Tom Hardy.
What?
In the Revenant.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, he's in it. Obviously, is he like one of the dudes that Leonardo DiCaprio's like hunting? Is Tom Hardy the bad guy in that movie? Is my question.
Just Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Really?
All right. Fair enough.
From what I remember.
Creed 2. The synopsis goes as such. Under the tutelage, a word you don't see very often anymore, under the tutelage of Rocky Balboa, light heavyweight contender Adonis Creed faces off against Victor Drago, the son of Ivan Drago. I've heard from the early reviews that this movie is much more of a sequel to Rocky 4 than it actually is a sequel to Creed. That like if you really enjoy Rocky 4, then you'll enjoy Creed 2 more than if like you like Creed more, if that makes sense, sort of thing.
I like Rocky in general. I just, for some reason, I don't know why I haven't watched the first. I have it on Blu-ray, so I've always for some time.
Well, you have 3 days to watch this movie.
Well, yeah, 3 days, but like I've always like looked at that one like, oh, I'm gonna watch that one day. I never did. So, but yeah, I'll watch it before we go and watch this.
I think
like you're gonna go watch Fantastic Beasts before we go watch Fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay, I guess I'm not watching Creed then.
See, well, one of those is a good movie, and one of those is just an okay movie.
It's Harry Potter world.
Okay, well, but see, I don't have Fantastic Beasts readily available. Like, I have to pay to see Fantastic Beasts, and you can just watch.
Do I need to like give you $5 to go see Fantastic Beasts?
I mean, if you want to. Sure.
Oh my! We should have we just went in to go watch like a double feature then. Jeez.
I guess I don't know. I lost my train. What I was going to say was that I'm actually really happy with how Sylvester Stallone, because like Sylvester Stallone wrote the original Rocky and like most of the Rocky screenplays, and I think that they've done a really good job of converting this into like a more modern story. I think they did a really good job with the like time jump in between Rocky 5 and Creed, and Rocky 5 and the Rocky Balboa, which is 8 years old now, maybe something like that.
It's like 10, I think. Yeah,
8 to 10 maybe. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie. I just hope that they don't exploit the whole. Like, I hope that bringing the Dragos back into it is not just like let's get people in the theater. Like, oh, Ivan Drago's back.
I think that's like the play, but
hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's like a little bit deeper than that. Anyway, so obviously Sylvester Stallone is back as Rocky Balboa. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like Rocky dies of a heart attack at the end of this movie. I feel like it's almost time for it to to Rocky not to be a thing anymore.
Well, he's like in his 70s.
He's already had. Well, never mind. I don't want to spoil Creed for you, but there have been some problems already. Let's just
that makes sense. Yeah, because like his trainer was going to do that same thing stuff.
Well, yeah, but Mickey was like 90 when they were training in that movie.
Yeah, but but Rocky was like a boxer during the whole time, so like boxing ages you a lot quicker.
Yeah,
too.
That's true.
I'm not saying Mickey he probably did box, but probably not as at a level that Rocky did, even though you're still taking hits.
No, I think he was supposed to be like a champion.
No, okay, well.
It was like Mighty Mix, like Jam or whatever. Anyway, obviously Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa. Michael B. Jordan is Adonis Creed. Tessa Thompson, I'm blanking on the character's name, but
does he chase chickens at all in the first one?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
And then Dolph Lundgren back as Ivan Drago.
Awesome.
In this movie, and I'm very excited for this movie.
Cool.
That takes us to the world of video games.
Ooh, video games.
I have 2 things on this list. The first being releasing today is the next DLC for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
On
What's
PlayStation 4. It is called Turf Wars.
Turf Wars.
And I have no clue what it's about because I have not yet played Spider-Man and probably won't ever play Spider-Man. But, yeah. If you're interested, if you have a PS4, if you've liked Spider-Man, we were talking last week about how Spider-Man was nominated for Game of the Year. So I think this is the second DLC for Spider-Man that's releasing, and it releases today, so you can go pick that up right now.
Spider-Man.
The final thing that I have on my new releases list is a game that I actually haven't heard anything about leading up to this release. Maybe it just got kind of drowned out in the dumpster fire that is Fallout 76 right now, and the weird release of Battlefield. How EA Access gives you the game already.
Is it out right now? Then technically,
you can play the full game right now. But
yeah. Okay.
The official release is not until maybe it's today. Today is the official release, but you've been able to play it since November 5th.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just didn't know that. I'll download it when we're done with this.
Oh, Battlefield?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was this week where the EA Access kicks in and then it doesn't come out.
I think you've been able to download it since the 5th or 6th of November.
Okay.
But the official release was not until whatever. They've completely botched that.
Nice.
But anyway, the game that I've not heard anything about until literally I looked this up before we started recording is Darksiders 3. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and that might be true. Maybe no one cares.
No, seriously, it seems like no one cares.
I have not heard a single thing.
I haven't heard. I've heard. I remember it getting announced. It's THQ still, right?
I think so.
Or Nordic.
Yeah.
This is their first game as Nordic, I believe. Maybe.
That could be true. Probably not, actually.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I don't count re-releases because this is a whole new game.
Yeah.
Or a whole new installment to the series. But yeah, maybe we might play. I don't know. Well, we're gonna be setting up some stuff for Battlefield for sure when it comes out.
Yeah, Battlefield. Smash comes out in a couple weeks now. Kind of like the calm before the Super Smash Bros. Storm.
I don't call it Storm, but
bro, Super Smash Bros.
It's not a console seller, man.
What?
Nothing.
What was that?
Nothing.
Super Smash Bros. Is a juggernaut. I would say Super Smash Bros. Is a bigger game than Zelda or Mario.
I feel like it'll probably sell some consoles, but everyone that already has a Switch is probably gonna already buy it.
Exactly. Everyone is gonna buy it. That has a
but it's not gonna push any more console sales.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Anyways, is that it?
That's it. That's all I have.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our new releases for this week. No TV shows because TV sucks, right?
I don't know. We have such different tastes in television shows.
I started watching Homecoming, by the way.
Is it any good? That's what you've been watching on Amazon Prime.
Decent.
Every time it's Radio 182 online.
Well,
because Amazon Instant Video.
Because I've been editing, so I usually put that on in the background.
Oh, so you're not really watching Homecoming. You're editing, and Homecoming is on in the background.
But I'm still paying attention to it.
Sure.
The Caucasian kid is from.
You're paying such good attention to.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't ever catch names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you I don't know, pay attention to it.
Well, I know the what's her name? The main character, Julia Roberts' character's name is Heidi. That's it. That's all I remember. Heidi Bergman.
I actually just finished watching.
Just whatever.
I'm gonna hijack what we were talking about. You said you're watching Homecoming, so I'm gonna say what I was
watching. The
watching.
Caucasian guy is from Shameless. It's
I don't watch that show either.
What's it called? Not Butch. Dutch. God damn, I'm so bad with names and with characters, but he's pretty spot on. Flick, I think is his name. In the show, he's really good in Shameless, but he has a pretty decent performance in this.
Okay. What I've been watching, and just finished watching. Well, I've been watching Parks and Rec, but that's another thing. I finished watching a series on Facebook because Facebook has their own television shows now. I know. It's called Sorry for Your Loss. It's Elizabeth Olsen. And
is that why you're watching it?
A small percentage. Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen and Kelly Mary Chan, who is currently most famous for being given a terrible character in Star Wars.
This is Scarlet Witch, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's about.
Man, they must have gave her a lot of money for this.
I don't know. She made it. She's like a producer on it.
She probably got a lot of money for it.
I don't know. I think it's really good. I think it's like a really powerful story. It's about like she is a recent widow. Her husband dies. I don't want to like spoil it for you, but like she's recently a widow, and it's all about her, like her and her family and like her in-laws and stuff, and like all of them like processing the grief.
How is the chick from Star Wars in it? What's her relation?
Adopted sister.
Okay, cool.
She was adopted from Vietnam. So
interesting.
So anyway, and like everyone kind of has like their own problems. It's like I think it was just like a really good like raw emotional experience like watching it. It's like something, I think it treats everything because it deals with some very serious topics, and I think that it does so in like a very realistic way. It doesn't like sugarcoat anything.
Nice.
So I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And it's a 10 like approximately 30-minute episode. So you can get
I'll watch that now.
You can
sold.
You can get through it pretty quickly.
Nice. I don't like wasting my time with that stuff. Like hour episodes, 24.
I think like the
hour episodes that are 24 episodes long.
Yeah.
I ain't doubt about that life.
You can easily blow through it in like a day if you wanted to.
I'm already 4 in Homecoming.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like the shortest episode I think is like 23 minutes, and the longest one is like 33. I think the last one is 33 minutes. So it's like nothing's very long, but I think it's really good. I thought it was really good. Anyway.
I think one movie we need to watch is the mid-90s, the Jonah Hill directed one.
Okay.
We should go watch that.
I mean, sure.
We'll try. I mean, we have to make the time, but yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, ready for Twitter? Tweeter?
I don't think I'm ever ready for Twitter, but let's do it.
So, this is our new segment that we tried out last week. I think we had fun with it. But yeah, we're gonna look at video game Twitter. So let's get it. All right. Oh, the first one. The headline is for you, Jacob, is Fallout Journal Day 3 in a search of friends and fun.
Fallout Journal Day 4. No friends or fun to be had. Because that game, from everything that I've heard, that game is really trash. I know I read a tweet from Dustin Legary yesterday, or maybe it was this morning. I honestly don't even remember. He was saying that like he can't remember a game that like single-handedly ruined a franchise the way that he felt like Fallout 76 has done to like the Fallout franchise, like tarnished a franchise. So I guess things are really bad out there. I actually don't know if I own this game. I haven't actually checked if Anthony ever bought it. I don't think he did, because I feel like he would have texted me.
And Josh, actually.
Oh, okay. I feel like he would have texted me that he did.
It's going to be $40 on Black Friday.
That's what I told him. He texted me, and I was like, honestly, like I'm still working on Red Dead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit your phone. Okay. I'm still working on Red Dead. I still need to go back to Assassin's Creed if Red Dead will ever end, I can play Assassin's Creed. And like, so I texted him. I was like I don't even have time to play that game. Yeah. So like, if you want to wait till it's on sale, like Black Friday or Christmas or whatever, like sure, I don't care.
I'll probably buy it for Chris. I'll probably buy that and Dead Cells for the next set of games, I guess, for me and Josh. Yeah. Just because it'll be probably like 40 or maybe even less. Because from what I've seen in all the like really, negative reviews, there's some been positives. The problem is it's not ready. It was dead on arrival. What was like the problem? Really, I think what the problem is, and a lot of the reviewers, I think 2 or 3 of them, even think IGN said this is going to be a better game later down the line, like the Skyrim MMO they did.
Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online, basically. Yeah,
I would say like that. The first Destiny had problems like this, where it was a pretty hollow game, and then like they added into it. And
yeah,
I think IGN even reviewed it like a year later as like with everything they had added.
Yeah, and IGN still reviewing. It's like they've had 2 updates to it, so they just released it, their second update for their progress of it, and that's kind of like a bad sign too, because the game's already been out for almost a week now, and you have a game like that where IGN's saying like, yeah, we're still reviewing it. But yeah, unfortunate, because I'm a big Fallout fan. I've loved Fallout so much since 3 that I went back and played the actual first one for a little bit, but it's a little too old for me. But still,
yeah, it is kind of. I think this is.
But I don't know why people were expecting like a Fallout game. I think it was just a
people that were expecting a normal Fallout game, like they deserve whatever
Yeah.
they feel right now, because
the
like
dude at
you
GameStop.
guys should have been aware that it wasn't.
That dude at GameStop that spit on the internet of him like literally like knocking down displays and stuff after his return was like not
I don't
what he
remember
thought it
seeing
was.
that, but
Yeah,
okay.
I'll show you too after this.
That's pretty crazy.
But like that guy just like that dude needs to be punched in the face or told like,
yeah,
yo, dude, you're an idiot if you thought this was gonna be Fallout.
right.
But
yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate to see. I think this is really probably Bethesda's like first misstep.
I think Elder Scrolls Online knowing that release was a misstep too.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I think there's like more.
I think Fallout
bugs.
is the bigger franchise.
Yeah, but I think Fallout has a lot more bugs and a lot more problems versus the Elder Scrolls being more empty, just like this one was.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Next one. First look at Monster Hunter movie reveals they actually made the giant effing sword.
The level to which I don't care about this movie, it can't be calculated. It's off the scale.
Mila Jovovich, or whatever you say her last name's in it though.
The girl from The Fifth Element?
No, the girl from Resident Evil.
Aren't those the same people?
In The Fifth Element, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She's in it.
Thank you. Whew.
My bad, sorry.
Yeah, that's not gonna be enough for me. Sorry.
My favorite one when I actually read the article at the very end and it had a comment. The first comment was like, "Which Resident Evil sequel is this?" Yeah, the first one is a journal. By the way, I want to mention. It's on The Verge and it's actual like a daily journal of or a weekly journal of someone playing Fallout and journal. Like the article is fat.
A moment of silence for that person.
Yeah, no, it's a person working for Verge just like doing that for them.
Okay, they're getting paid.
Yeah, they're getting paid for it. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an actually interesting journal. There's a lot of like weird insights and stuff. And then this one is just like an article just describing the picture basically that they release.
Okay. I think I did see that picture. It's like the huge jumbo sword. This article is from. I don't know what this is. IO9. I think that's what the site's called. Okay.
The next one is a Fallout 76 related one, just for people that want secret stuff and stuff. It's on Kotaku, and it just goes through like just secret stuff basically, like whatever stuff they've found. They basically wrote it down in this article.
Did they find a good game in there anywhere?
Probably not.
Okay.
Unfortunately. The next one's still Fallout 76. This was from PC Gamer. Fallout 76 players launched 3 nukes at the same time, all aimed at the same place.
I did not hear about that. I heard that it like broke the game.
Yeah. So the end of the article basically said they don't know if it's related because the game's already have had problems just crashing randomly.
Yeah.
So, but probably it is related. But since it's happened, they can't really directly make it since they haven't investigated or whoever's in charge of that part of QA to make sure it doesn't crash. But yeah, so it was the third bomb that crashed the game. Actually, it was the first 2 were fine. It was like oh my god, and then when finally the third one landed, that's when the game crashed or the server crashed in general.
Yeah,
but yeah, the picture of it's pretty gnarly. But you guys can go check that out. I think I got a couple more. I got one more for you, and then I got one more after that, and we're done. The new Assassin's Creed board game we posted about a little while ago is now live on Kickstarter. This one is on, I believe, a Kotaku article. It's a very short article, and it just talks about the Kickstarter for this Assassin's Creed board game. And you can go on the Kickstarter and donate money if you're an Assassin's Creed fan. That one's for you. Basically.
I do love me some Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna look up really quick.
Like the figures look like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so if you are an Assassin's Creed fan like our host here, Jacob Bullard is, go check that out.
Brotherhood of Venice.
Yeah, so it should be like it's on Kotaku, I believe. This article, yeah. And yeah, it's just good.
Oh, you get to paint they're all gray.
Oh, I can paint those for you if you want me to.
Fam, I will paint my own Assassin's Creed figures.
Well, I have paint for you if you want to use it.
I'm trying to look up like some rules.
Okay.
Oh, they even gave like names. Oh, they have an Ezio statue. My wallet wishes I hadn't seen this. Bro, this is crazy. Game elements. Are there like rules anywhere here? The stretch goal system.
So should I put these in the actual videos and then for the SoundCloud for the people? I mean, if you want the
You can
links,
put the links.
I'll put the links down below, and I'll put the titles of each one for you down
How
there.
much do you have to pledge to like get this?
Probably like $30 or $40.
158 or more.
Oh, you're effed. You're like, I could do it.
Nah, it's too much.
Okay.
Estimated delivery June 2020. Yikes.
When is the last day you have to pledge?
I don't know. 16 days ago. Let's go back this project. The figures look sick though.
Well, they look sick painted like that. You gotta paint them like that, sir.
I'll try my hardest. It doesn't say.
Okay.
It doesn't give me a date. It just says estimated delivery.
Those.
Bum bum ba-ding. It looks super sick though.
Okay.
Look at all this stuff.
Oh, you get all that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad, dude. That's actually a good deal.
I will investigate further.
That's like a pretty solid deal for how
I
many
can't afford
models
it
you
right
get.
now though.
I know, but the models you can get out of that, that's actually a pretty good deal.
There's like towers and tanks and like everything.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Is it so like I'm assuming it's kind of
maybe
like
we'll split it and
Warhammer?
maybe we'll split or something like that. That'd be fun to play. Maybe have like a thing.
Perhaps.
Okay.
I'll have to do some driving.
All right, here we go. Last one. It's a PC Gamer tweet. This is from 3 days ago from November 20th. Cliff Bleszinski says he'll never go or is never going to make another video game. I don't know if you ever saw this.
I didn't. This is Gears of War dude, right?
Yes, Cliff Bleszinski, the man that created the Gears of War series and the man that shut down Boss Key Productions.
Okay.
Yeah. He saw the actual tweet. He says, I paid my employees their 401ks and their healthcare even months after the studio folded so they could care for their families. I didn't take a salary myself for the 2 years. I get you're sad, but God, this kind of shit is another reason I am never making another video game. So, yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, the article is on PC Gamer. They said they probably, if the right opportunity is put in front of him, I think he'll be able to.
Does he get any sort of royalties for Gears of War?
Probably for the original ones. I'm not too sure. We have to do research. Colin made a good shout to put him on to the 343 industry team. That would be interesting if he was, to go and make Halo games. I think they would definitely benefit from his expertise and experience. One person said or tweeted that they put in the article. It says Andrew Travis, give a man a game and he'll play for a day. Teach a man to make games and he'll never play one for the rest of his life.
Yikes.
I like that tweet. But yeah, it's unfortunate because Cliff Bleszinski has been a very vocal person in video games. And has given us a great video game series in Gears of War. I'm not too sure what else. He's done stuff before Gears, I believe. But I would have to do research on that. But yeah, a guy that's been making games for 20 years. It kind of sucks to see him go. But yeah, that's it. That's it for video game Twitter. So those links will definitely be down in the description. Check it out. And yeah. That's it. What's next? What is next?
Is this the real life?
Oh, so before we get into our Bohemian Rhapsody review, let us know down in the comments down below on all of those tweets if you have any input on it. Also, let us know about how your Fallout 76 is going, your experience. Be a little, obviously be critical, but also, be a little realistic in like what you're talking about. Don't just say, "Oh, this game is shite." And then that's it. But some like, okay, this game's bad because
give us some thoughtful criticism.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So we are gonna get into a review, which has been a long time. It's the last review we did was what, Incredibles or Ant-Man?
That or Jurassic World.
Did we do Jurassic World?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while for sure because MoviePass took a dump on us, and then we took that dump and threw it out the trash, and then we got
like AMC
A-list, 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 I'm A-list. Get out the way. That's why I was in the movie theater when we came in, and you told me, like, what are you doing?
Please stop.
Exactly. But yeah, so this past weekend we saw Bohemian Rhapsody, which is still being well received in theaters. Like the theater that we went into, it was a Saturday night, but it was jam-packed basically. And thank you to those people that let us sit together because we bought our tickets a little late. And
yeah, we had to buy separate seats.
Yeah, but then the people were kind enough to let us sit together or move over one, which was very nice of them. Thank you. How do you want to unpack it?
I don't know. Normally we go through the favorite scene, like least favorite.
Because you haven't done it in a while, so I'm not sure if you want to do the same format or not.
No, I'm kind of just like we could just kind of just talk about it generally. I think.
Okay. What's
I think the scene thing is just like I guess behind the curtain a little bit. The scene thing is difficult first, like because some people haven't seen it.
Okay.
So like that's what. Although I guess,
but we'll do it at the end.
Like,
we'll do it at the end part of what we're going to do then. How do you want to break it down then? Performances or something like that, or the story?
Yeah, we can start with the story, I guess.
Do you want to spoil any of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already been more than a week, I think.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, then this is the part where you don't listen.
This is a biopic too, so like most people I think have a general idea of kind of like how this is gonna go.
Okay. So story wise, we are in London in 1970, I believe.
Yeah.
When it starts out, and then you meet what's Freddie Mercury's actual real name? I forgot. Farouk something.
Something. I don't remember his last name.
And then you meet Farouk at an airport. Well, actually, the movie starts at the Live Aid, and then it goes to the airport after that. You say U2 for a little bit, and then he starts at like an airport where he does his like actual job. I believe he's also going to school or something like that. Comes home, and then, like his dad's like the kind of cliche dad, like, what are you gonna do with your life, kind of thing. And then he's like, I'm going out tonight, Papa. I know, you know what I mean. He didn't say that, but yes, that's basically the gist of it. And then he goes to go see a band called Smile, which is two of the original members. I'm already blanking. What's the drummer and the guitarist?
Brian May and Brian. I think they're both named Brian.
Okay.
Brian May and I should have looked this up before.
And then the original bassist for the band Freddie Mercury goes to the show, and then at the end of the show they break up, and then Freddie was like, I want to be in your band, and he sings, and then they're like, when do you want to start? And that's basically the start of like the real start of the movie. And then
Roger Taylor is the drummer. I don't know why I thought his name was Brian as well.
Okay.
Roger Taylor.
Okay. And then they get a new bassist, which is the kid from Jurassic Park, and then also Sledge from the Pacific. It's kind of a reunion between him and Rami Malek. And then they just basically do what is probably well known nowadays of like the story of Queen, and how they basically created like all their early hits all the way up until the 80s. And then there's a couple people that come in and out, like Littlefinger. What's his real name? Don't know. Okay, it's Littlefinger anyways. The guy that plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones is their manager for a bit. Then they also have like a little assistant who becomes I guess the love interest with Freddie Mercury, but also Freddie Mercury meets what's her name? His original girlfriend, Mary, alongside, and then basically we see Freddie Mercury, do some of his private life stuff, and then basically his ego catches up with him, and kind of you can already see resistance between them, and like showing up late, having like extravagant parties where none of the band members kind of want to be there because they have families.
Right. Yeah.
And then we get into the part where they get rid of Littlefinger because
Aidan Gillen is his name.
Aidan Gillen. He offers tells Freddie, because of his little friend, but I forgot his name already. Paul tells him like, oh hey, there's a little solo like contract to Littlefinger, and then Littlefinger presents it to Freddie because he wants in on the action, obviously. But Freddie doesn't have it, and then fires him. And then Paul becomes like not their manager, but kind of becomes the voice for Freddie after that, in a way.
Well, and Paul's the one that like leaves the manager out to dry.
Yeah,
because Paul's the one that brought it to him, like you said,
mm.
and then like then he tells, I forget. Let me look up what that character's name is. John Reed is the manager's name. Aidan Gillen's character.
Mm.
He tells John Reed to like, hey, bring this up to Freddie. Like, it needs to come from you. And then when he does that, Paul's like, oh, I've never heard of this before. And then like he gets fired.
Yeah.
So like Paul's kind of the villain of the movie, I guess, in a sense.
That's where you see like the real separation of Freddie and the band members.
Yeah.
And then after that, basically he takes the solo deal, and then he's like all alone with Paul in Munich and having more extravagant parties. And Queen's basically broken up at that point.
Right. And Paul is like withholding information from him. Like people are calling, trying to get a hold of Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
And
Until
or like won't pass on the information.
And then they get a lawyer basically, and then they call him Miami because Freddie didn't like his original name, so they call him Miami. He becomes the manager, and then so like they're trying to call him, but Paul's like intercepting all the calls basically for Live Aid, which is the proposal show, because everyone's gonna be there. They've made this thing out to be like, Led Zeppelin, Paul McCartney, like everyone and anyone's gonna be playing these shows. And it wasn't until Mary got there where the news was broke to Freddie about the show and stuff, and basically gets rid of Paul after that because all the information has been withholding from him, and then tries to reconnect with the band. The band has a little fun with it though, unfortunately, but they get back together and they basically rehearse, and everyone's a little bit worried because of Freddie's voice, and then they go to Live Aid, which was like a little flash from the beginning. They play a show, and that's basically the whole movie. And then they kind of have like a little thing at the very end, kind of commemorating him and his life, which is like really nice. I want to know if any of those people in the crowd, when they shoot it to the crowd, or people that were actually there, like the older people. I would assume it'd be a cool shout to like have that.
I don't know, maybe, I guess, but I'd be surprised if that was the case. If they like brought back original people,
like that were in attendance.
I guess now that I think about it, the audience was
mixed,
maybe a little bit older than
some of them
probably would have been at that time, like in the 80s. So I guess maybe it is possible.
Yeah.
I see what you're going for there. I think that story-wise, I think I enjoyed this movie, definitely, and like it's definitely an interesting story. Like Queen are one of my favorite bands, so like there's an interesting story to be told there. But I think where this movie lost me, or like where I wasn't able to connect with this movie, was the actual musical performances themselves, because they would take live performances, everything except, well, even the Live Aid was like dubbed or whatever, but all the other live performances throughout like the development of Queen's portfolio, they were all studio tracks of Queen playing over like a live performance. And so like we talked about this when we were leaving the theater, and I just like wasn't able to connect to it for some reason because of that, because like it didn't sound live.
Yeah, it sounded a little off, I could tell. I mean, it depends on the person too, and how dumb or smart they are, just if they are actually paying attention to that. I think it was hard probably to do that, to have like the live experience, but maybe because they didn't have clean audio for it, or it just didn't sound good, maybe the quality of it. But I mean, they could have mastered it or something like that, or whatever you want to call it. Remastered it basically. Because I know we compared it to like Walk the Line with the Johnny Cash movie, the biopic that they did years ago, but how that movie in the live performance is actually, I mean, obviously Joaquin Phoenix sung that stuff, but it was it sounded more organic with that versus watching Rami Malek kind of sing Freddie's voice. Because for me, I'm like, it's not Freddie Mercury obviously, but Malek actually pulls his look off pretty well, but still it just felt a little off with like you can see that he was like lip singing in a way.
And obviously, singing like Freddie Mercury is significantly more difficult than like bordering on talking with music behind you with Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So Joaquin Phoenix had a much easier task than, what's the guy's name that played Freddie?
Rami Malek.
Yeah, Rami Malek did. But it still was a disconnect for me. Just even the fact that they weren't. They've got to have. Queen had to have released I guess I'm not sure, but they had to release a live album or something like that. Like they have to have something that they could have pulled from.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe maybe that's why also Sacha Baron Cohen was dropped out, because I would think the guys from Queen were probably picky about their sound and how it's gonna sound, and they were probably so picky to the point where like, well, that's not a recording from us in like Madison Square Garden, because they show different shows from different areas or different locations. And there probably were, maybe there's one of them that were like, well, I want to have the actual recording from that actual show. Maybe that's what it was too.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, I guess.
I did also really enjoy kind of the backstory. You kind of got, there were, of course, dramatized, but like sort of the backstory behind some of the songs that were written. Freddie and Roger were fighting in the studio or whatever, and John Deacon, the bassist, started playing the like do 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 do,
yeah.
And then they both stopped, or like if that's really how it went down, like stuff like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then like Love of My Life is probably my.
Oh, you didn't even say the best part of that scene though.
Then I don't remember what the best part of that scene.
When the lawyer, because they offered him like, oh, do you want to be the manager? Like, can I think about it? And they're like, yeah. And then he starts playing it.
Oh yeah, he started playing the record.
And then
that's
like,
pretty good.
He's like,
yeah.
Shh, I'm in.
Yeah. I did forget about that part.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like the little backstories.
That's
were
what's
really
his name from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah, he's the British.
The douchebag.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't think about that. You're right. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, I think like and there was a really good. I think the four people that they brought together for each of the Queen members, I think, had a good chemistry. The humor, like when they were in the studio, stuff like that. When they were interacting with the guy that was in charge of the record label, and they were like trying to convince him to let them do Bohemian Rhapsody, stuff like that. There were a lot of really good scenes in this movie.
I think one of my favorite scenes were when they were recording Bohemian Rhapsody, and they were like, let's experiment with this, and then how they were bouncing the voices off back and forth, like do this one on the left, like that was stuff like that's my favorite part, when I'm watching them try to like really experiment. That's a good shout to like Queen and kind of like their style, like, oh, we have 30 minutes left in the studio, let's do something. Because like I've seen bands record, all the bands that I've hung out with and stuff, and I've gone over like hung out with them while they're recording, because I just like watching the process, and to like see that kind of translation for Queen's version of it was like pretty neat to watch. And I'm like, yeah, like you said, I hope like everything was almost accurate, but I probably people's memories like are obviously over time aren't the best, but if like everyone like
if it's even close, then those are all good stories.
Yeah, they are definitely.
And just when they were putting together Bohemian Rhapsody, and like Freddie trying to like to get Brian May to play, just keep playing that solo better. And then, and now we're going to go into the operatic section. And everyone's like, what? And then they kept trying to get Roger to, like, sing high. Like, he was recording the operatic. He's like, can you do it? Can you go higher? It's like, if I go, I forget what he said. It's like, if I go any higher,
my balls will be in my
balls
chest.
are going to be in my chest or something like that. It was, there was a lot of just really good humor and, like, funny, like, moments throughout, like, all the time that they were in the studio. And, like I said, like, interaction with their manager and the record label manager and stuff like that.
Yeah. With what's it called? With Michael Myers' character as well.
Yeah.
What was at the very end? They played something, and then like it was like a funny moment because they shot back to him, and then they went back. I was like, what? I forgot what it was. Why it was so funny, because we laughed at it. I forgot what it was. But the funny part was too when they had the interaction.
Oh,
with
it
him.
was. He was watching Live Aid, or something like that, and like he was the guy. Like they walked out and it was like, you're forever gonna be known as the guy who lost Queen or whatever, because he wouldn't let him have Bohemian Rhapsody as their single. And then like it cut back to him like way later in the movie, and like just like the look on his face.
While everyone I think is like singing to it. I think that's what it was,
yeah.
something like that. But like another scene was when they were actually talking to him. It's like, why not? Because they were talking about what's it called, the drummer's song.
I'm in love with my car.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Why not? I'm in love with my car" as a single, and like everyone was like,
because they had this
and then
whole
the
big
drummer's
argument.
like, "What? Come on, guys! Like, that's a good song." Apparently, that was funny.
Yeah, and they're fighting in the kitchen about that song, and then like he starts throwing things at them, and no one really reacts, and then he picks up, is it like the coffee maker or something?
Yeah,
like
not
that?
the
They're all like broke still, kind of,
Yeah.
and like he's like getting ready to throw the kids, like not the coffee. Like he's already thrown like 3 different things at them or whatever. Yeah, it was really good. I think, ironically, like I said, where this movie struggled the most was like actually the music, and I think it struggles also. I think it kind of bobbled the whole AIDS. Like once you like the first time, like when you know that like he's sick through Live Aid, basically, like at the end of the movie, I think that they could have trimmed the movie down there, and I think it would have benefited it. I just feel like it didn't give the audience enough credit for like knowing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think like it treated it like no one knew he had AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that hurt the movie a little bit.
Well, I mean,
just for pacing purposes.
I get it, but I think also there's a generation where people have never seen Queen or never knew his story. Maybe they've listened to the music, but they ever like, why is he probably like maybe he died from some weird thing. But and also like AIDS isn't in the news at all. Like,
well, it's not like
if any,
not,
it's like
not nearly as lethal now.
Yeah, because cancer kind of like took that over in a way as like the. And then diabetes as well.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
stuff.
they have a treatment for.
Yeah.
Like, Magic Johnson's gonna live like basically a full life.
Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting to see that stuff and kind of. I thought one of my favorite moments was like when he was walking out and like the kid that was sitting there that was in the same facility was like, "Whoa!" Oh, we go, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah.
And then he does it back. I thought that was like pretty.
Yeah.
Like they're all in it together, and not to take away from like I'm not saying like this. I hope it's not negative or offends anyone. But when he says like I don't want to be the guy or the poster boy for like that, maybe at the time it was a negative, but also I don't think he wanted like any more spotlight. He just wanted to be in Queen, which is like kind of nice to like shout like you don't have to be a victim. You can overcome being a victim, which is like really nice. I thought that was a good message to put out to people. Like you can overcome things. You can be who you want to be in a way without having to have people pity on you and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But one thing I wish they wouldn't have like did a shout. The guitarist, what's his name?
Brian
May, because like he actually made that guitar.
Okay.
I wish like they actually explained like, oh, like, where'd you get that guitar or something like that, and it's like, no, I made it. I think that would have been cool, but that's just like me being a nerd, I guess. But other than that, yeah, it's a good movie. Good moments. Just a lot of weird moments with like the Mary, like, and then
the lamp.
Yeah, like there's weird scenes like that, but it like foreshadowed for the next one and stuff, which is like kind of interesting. But yeah, there's definitely weird scenes in this that people are like, what is going on here? But still some fun stuff in it, I guess. Good little bits. And if you're a Queen fan, you probably already watched this, but if you're on the fence about it, I would definitely.
If you like Queen, you'll like this movie. That's like just kind of, and like most people like Queen, so I think most people, and obviously it's doing really well at the box office, so
which is good.
I think we looked when we were there, it was like a budget was $52 million, and like they've already made $300.
Which is like pretty good because, well, I think the only reason why it's like that because like the music, they don't have to pay for really probably any of the rights because I think Queen is actually producing like the band itself.
Oh really?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah, because all those guys had a say on. That's why it's taken so long to make the movie because they kind of wanted to make it right, I guess.
Okay.
So, which is nice.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, we recommend, even if you don't know who Queen is, this is a good way, maybe an entryway to even get into Queen, to find out, like, oh, wow, they made that song? Like, there's so many songs that you thought, especially for me growing up, like, that was Queen the whole time? Are you serious? Have you ever seen Small Soldiers?
If I have, I don't remember.
It's a movie about like little toy soldiers, but they have another one, Bites the Dust is like the kind of theme song for it. And I like totally did not know when I was a young kid that was Queen the whole time. And there's a lot of music I think that was like you'll be able to jump into after you watch this movie. You'll be like, they made this song?
Yeah.
Like Radio Gaga. Like you're like, what? This is crazy. But yeah, definitely a good like I said, good intro to Queen itself, which is I think why they made the movie too, in a way, because it's been such a long time since Freddie Mercury has passed away. And obviously they've gone on tour and stuff, but not like a.
I've seen them while they've been on tour.
Yeah, but not like a headlining tour where like people were talking about like, oh, we're gonna go see Queen. You know what I mean?
I guess. I don't know. I guess maybe they've faded from the spotlight a little.
Yeah,
bit.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I mean, it was a headlining tour.
Well, I meant like no. That's what I meant. But like, it's not like in the spotlight, in the sense of.
Yeah, I guess I saw them at the Forum 3 years ago now. I think. With they have Adam Lambert now as their lead singer. So.
Yeah, I don't think he sounds just. I mean, does he sound pretty good?
He sounds pretty good.
Okay,
it's good.
Yeah. Hopefully,
obviously not Freddie Mercury, but like it's good.
It'd be smart to like capitalize after this movie, like maybe next year to go on tour. Maybe like not for the last time, but maybe it is the last time. I don't know, because Elton John doing this farewell tour, Kiss is doing their farewell tour for like the 10th time. But yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. What's next?
We're gonna move back to the world of video games.
Okay, we're gonna move back to the world of video games, but before we do that, let us know in the comments down below if you enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody and what you liked about it. What was your favorite scene? And yeah, let's keep moving back to the world of video games. What are we going to talk about, young man?
So every year, obviously, is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. I believe I got that right.
I totally forgot we're doing this topic.
E3, which is every June. Is that right? June, I think.
Oh, yes.
This year, obviously, every year there's traditionally for like basically the whole existence of E3, there has been a Nintendo, a Microsoft. Well, I guess the Xbox or the E3 predates the Xbox, but like a Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft press conferences at E3. And a lot of people, there have been kind of murmurs that E3 is kind of on its way out. Like, is it really necessary anymore? Sort of thing. And
it's kind of turning into like Comic-Con.
I guess. I mean, it's open to the public. Last year, the year before, they opened it up to the public for the first time.
Well, it's like not. It's because everyone's moving their other stuff out of like the Comic-Con kind of atmosphere and moving it to like their own like D23. They have their own.
Right. Yeah. Or like one. EA Play Now and stuff like that.
Yeah, EA Play Now. But even like the Marvel, the DC doesn't DC. They go to something else besides San Diego Comic-Con, and then Game of Thrones weren't there. There's a lot of stuff that's not at Comic-Con where it's like the same thing kind of happening.
But those are just like individual year choices, not like they are abandoning those things.
Yeah, but I mean, but like when you have that like less of a presence there, it kind of takes away in a way, I guess. Yeah, I think the purists, I think the people that originally were at Comic-Con probably enjoy it more because there was less people probably. But for like I think it's died down a little bit more after year. But anyways,
I guess, yeah. In any case, 2 days ago now, I believe, PlayStation or Sony announced that they are not going to be holding their annual press conference at E3 this year. So PlayStation going to have, I guess I don't know about individual games. Maybe it's like just the press conference itself they're not going to do, like the showcase, but like maybe some of their games will still be there. Think maybe perhaps things that we already know are coming, like The Evil Within 2 and stuff like that. Kojima's project, whatever, Death Stranding. Anyway, but the showcase itself, which is normally like a 2 to 2.5 hour reveal of like everything that they're working on, basically, or almost everything that they're working on. So PlayStation is backing out of that, and there's not going to be. It's only going to be Xbox and Nintendo this year, with no PlayStation press conference. So what do you think about that?
Well, they didn't have PSX this year either, which is kind of interesting too.
Right.
Maybe they're taking a step back. Maybe there could be a bunch of different variables. Maybe some people an organization didn't like the way they did last year's E3, or maybe they thought it wasn't necessary, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to have like an original game maker, I guess, a console maker, not be there for the first time. I'm not sure if it's gonna hurt them or not, or what the benefits or the cons really are gonna be until we actually find out after. But them not having like a presence there is gonna be kind of weird, obviously, because the way he always watched the conferences. You watch like the Xbox One, and then it's Sony, and then everyone else basically after that. I'm not sure, because I mean Nintendo will be there probably on the floor, but not have like an actual presentation like they usually do. They usually just do like a direct.
Right. They haven't had a regular presentation for a while now.
So maybe PlayStation might be the other variable, is that they might want to take the approach that Nintendo's doing, where they just have stuff on the floor, but do a direct kind of like video, in a way. Maybe that's what we might get to. Maybe that's what they're. Maybe I think I've heard that they probably are not going to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, the usual time when they do their conference, they just throw a 30-minute video together of what they're working on, and then put it on the internet, like Nintendo does.
Maybe, yeah. I think that I don't expect PlayStation to do anything like that. I would expect that. I have a feeling that they kind of let everything out of the bag. Like, obviously, everyone kind of knows at this point that the next Xbox and the next PlayStation are coming. I think that for PlayStation specifically, that might be... It's possible that's really all the information that they have, and they're not ready to show their PlayStation yet. Or they're saving it for, like, maybe next year's Paris Games Week, or next year's PSX.
Yeah, I would think they're gonna probably announce the next PlayStation at PSX next year.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think maybe they're holding off everything until PSX to do Death Stranding again. Days Gone would be out by then. Last of Us will be out by then. So there's kind of no reason to do E3 next year too, because the only game is gonna be Death Stranding when I think of it. Or the Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, yeah.
That doesn't come out until 2020 probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it probably maybe is
so in
first
any
quarter
case,
release.
Like, the rumor is that the new consoles are coming in 2020. So that would typically mean that the 2019 cycle is going to be relatively dead, because like there's not going to be a lot of big late game titles with the next generation sitting right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony may be slightly, I guess, a victim of that, in that they have released or shown trailers for basically probably 90% of what they're working on. At least as far as like the big like AAA things are concerned, because I think we know for the most part like what all of their studios are working on at this point. Yeah, all their big studios anyway. So I think that them taking a break, to me, signifies that it gives it a higher probability that the consoles are coming. Because
they've already Xbox has already had the Scarlet be kind of leaked and is already out there.
They talked about it openly, basically, that they were working on hardware at last E3. Yeah, but they never like gave it a name. And then, gave it like a official name. Sony
or whoever runs PlayStation talked about PlayStation the next. They didn't have a name. They just called the next console or whatever. In like a little interview or something like that. So it's already been confirmed that they're already working on both console makers are both working on the next generation anyways. So it's gonna be weird. I think the most important thing from what I hear is the best way to get ahead on the console race is to announce it first, I guess, in a way, or get ahead of the curve, because the last cycle PlayStation announced that they're releasing the console first, but they didn't give any kind of price point or anything like that.
No, I think that's where I think it was kind of the other way around, actually. I think that like they announced the PS3 first.
No, the 4. I'm talking about 4.
Oh, 4? Oh, okay.
I'm talking about 4. They announced the PS4 at PSX, I think, but it wasn't until E3 where they told like the date and the price. But they didn't tell the price until after the Xbox. Yeah. Because the Xbox went first that year, and I believe they revealed the console. Or said that like, this is what's going to happen. And then they did it. and then they gave the price point, and then PlayStation basically was like, oh, whoa, $100 cheaper.
Yeah, that's true. I think, but the year before, or like the cycle before, it was the other way around. Where it's like PS3 came out, and then it was like, oh, $599.99, and everyone's like, what? And it like Xbox was out at like $350, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, or maybe $400.
And they had definitely
like a $200 gap.
They had
between the
definitely good launching games with it too, with Halo 3 and Skyrim, or not Skyrim, Oblivion.
I think that this is a really good opportunity for Xbox. I think because what normally happens, I feel anyway, as someone who like plays the majority of my console games on Xbox, is that like the Xbox conference is always first, and they have like 12 to 24 hours of coverage in general. And then, like, the PlayStation conference comes after, and the PlayStation conference dominates the rest of E3, sort of thing. Like, regardless of the quality of the conferences. Like, it's just, like, the PlayStation information is the most recent stuff.
Wait, because it's fresh in people's head.
Right. So I feel like Microsoft has always had... I'm surprised, really, that it wasn't Microsoft that moved out of E3 first. Because, like, I always felt like they got the short end of the stick from this. Just being, like the sequence of the conferences and the way it's always gone. I think this is a really big opportunity for Microsoft. I think that moment
they're already going to be showing off the new console or the newer version of this gen with a no disk drive.
Was that confirmed that was a thing?
I think that's going to be what they're going to be talking about.
Okay, well maybe I honestly wouldn't be surprised to get a full console release or like.
I think we're going to get that for the next year's Xbox conference or whatever we call it, Microsoft little expo. I think. If they go first and announce like, hey, we're releasing this next year, or it'll be 2019 by the time that happens, and then say 2020 you're gonna get it or we're announcing that this is here, but we don't have a date or a price yet, and then I think the pricing is gonna be kind of what might break or help Xbox out. I'm not too sure. Like, what do you think the pricing is gonna be?
I would imagine it'll be like another $400.
Okay, because so the Xbox One X.
Oh, I see what you mean.
How much was that?
$5.
So it was $5.
$550.
They're gonna have to get that console down to probably like $399 on launch.
I think that's doable. I think especially
it's gonna be a better console. Anyways.
I also don't necessarily hardware wise, I think it will be
yeah, it's gonna be stronger, more powerful.
I think that Microsoft has given itself a little bit of leeway, I think, with the price point because of programs that they have like Games Pass where so say this is a 2020 console release, they're working on that new Halo and Gears, like presumably and like there'll be a Forza that year and stuff like that. All of the first party titles, the precedent that Microsoft have set is that like the first party titles are included with Games Pass. So like if you're even at that like $450 to $500 price point, but like you get a year of Games Pass for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like you now get all of the first party titles.
Everything
included
backwards
with your
and
system.
If it's backwards compatible on launch, that's even better.
With like both original Xbox and Xbox 360.
Yeah, because if they do a thing where like the first 6 months you get, let's say Live and Games Pass for free, that's a good selling point. Say if they do $450 or $4 or $5 or $4.99.
Yeah,
I think that's like the $100 right there will make up for it. But they also have to reveal what's going to be on launch too, because those have to be that one of those has to be an exclusive. So it's either the next Halo game or next Gears game or something else. Whatever.
I think it'll be both of those, but. There'll also be like that'll give 2 years for like all the studios that they've acquired over the last like 2 years now or a year and now, which is like 7.
Hey guys, we're working on this.
Hey, yeah, this is what we're working on. Obviously, like a few of those, it'll be like a really long time. But I just think in general that Microsoft actually has more to gain from Sony leaving E3 than Sony has to gain from leaving E3, in my opinion.
Well, they also have the chance of just messing it up too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like they need to like have good content first of all. Like it needs to be like good games, good services, like good system at a good price. Like if they like botch that, then it doesn't matter.
Because like what Sony, they really don't gain or lose anything by not going. Microsoft takes like the risk of going. Either it's the risk of gaining something or losing.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And Sony can afford to take this risk because of like the lead that they have right now on Microsoft, just like in this generation's like console wars or whatever. I think the bigger picture being like, how is this for like if I was in charge of running E3, how would I feel? I would be like really concerned that this is the beginning of the end. Like Nintendo obviously now for a few years has not had a like traditional press conference. EA has already left, but like, and I think that they were able to especially the state that Nintendo was in when Nintendo stopped doing the press conferences. I think like that was like Wii U era. Mm-hmm. Like no one really cared, honestly. Yeah. EA leaving's like cool. You got sports games and Battlefield.
I just remember I saw a tweet of the countdown for the Wii U, and it was down to 1 second, and it says 1 second from a disaster. I'm sorry, that popped in my head right now.
So like, I think E3 was going to be able to weather both of those, but I think PlayStation leaving, like PlayStation, the number one giant in the gaming industry at the moment, like if they don't come back, like if 2020 E3 comes around and like they're going to go like. Sony's just gonna make PSX their thing, and like they never come back to E3. That's concerning because like that's not from like a E3 standpoint. Like that's not a void that can be filled.
Yeah.
So like it could kind of signal, like the beginning of the end for like E3 as we know it.
Well, I mean the void can be filled to see. I mean if Xbox can punch back this next generation at the beginning and start off well.
Yeah.
They can,
and I think they've positioned themselves well to do so.
Yeah, with all the studios there, because obviously
and the services, like just with like
the extra studio they got,
live and backwards compatibility, and all like there's a whole bunch of like little things that are super useful in like the Xbox like ecosystem, and then like Games Pass, obviously.
Yeah, because I hear about how slow it is playing a PlayStation 3 game on the PS4.
You're streaming it. You can't like download it.
Yeah, which is like, oh wow. Yeah. And then not changing your.
So Xbox have like advantages weird. In a lot of like scenarios, but like obviously where they've struggled is first party games. So that's where they need to make up ground.
Yeah, I think they just need to have something in there launched. That's it. That's all I need. Like you need to see to have any kind of.
I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that because like I believe that they're gonna have like Gears and Halo on launch, and like that'll be fine.
Yeah,
launch
but
will be fine.
Is it gonna be a good? Like I'm saying, like I felt like Gears 4 and Halo 5, not that they did like they just didn't deliver.
I would say Halo 5. I would agree with you, but even then, like
I don't
a lot of people play Halo just for the multiplayer, and like I think the multiplayer did fine.
Yeah, the multiplayer did fine. Like it would, like they had the Halo Championships like past weekend.
Well, that and like all the updates were free content drops. Yeah. I don't think there was any paid DLC for Halo 5.
But yeah,
stuff like that.
They need to have something because the last couple of, and then we have Crackdown next year too. Like a lot, the exclusive are fun to play, but they're not. They're just not at a level yet, and I think it's because of the single player elements of those games. With Gears 4 and Halo 5, just didn't. Really
if you look at the PlayStation games that like really stick out over the last like year, it's like your God of War, your Spider-Man, your Detroit, your I almost said Forza Horizon, Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that. Like all those are like mainly single player driven. Experiences.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's another thing too, because is Sony gonna try to get back into like the multiplayer? Are they gonna try to play with other genre games, or are they just gonna stick with single player, which is pretty much working? Yeah. But I think Xbox is like 1 or 2 games away from doing that themselves and pulling that off.
If Microsoft can just pull level as far as like single player experience, I think they'll have the advantage because they have. It's really like all they need for the rest of that. Like multiplayer games, they have the better controller. Like that's literally, in my book, all they need for me to like. I'm never gonna play Call of Duty on PlayStation. I'm never gonna play Battlefield on PlayStation.
Yeah, you're never gonna play those third-party games on that console,
right?
Unless it's an exclusive,
right?
That's like kind of like why the only reason why you have a PlayStation in the first place.
Yeah. So anyway,
I just like how people ask me, "Do you have a PlayStation?" I'm like, "No."
I'm sorry. I mean, I have one. I have one game. It's called MLB The Show.
Because it's the only game you can play that. I mean, that's the only console you can play that on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's Matt. That's
maybe this year we'll get a baseball game on Xbox.
That RBI. You already have a baseball game.
Don't even get me started with that crap.
All right. What's next?
We're going to move on to our last topic. We're going to move to Pennsylvania Avenue.
But before we do that, let us know in the comments down below on what you think PlayStation is going to do or what's going to happen. Let us know in the comments down below. Also, let us know when you think the next consoles are going to come out and the price points. Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's go down.
And let us know that the Xbox controller is better than the PlayStation controller. It's not even an opinion that can be had.
Bro, it's so big. I'm like, nah, dude, you just have small hands.
Offset sticks, fam. That's all you need. All right.
All right.
Oh, you were there.
Let's take a drive down Pennsylvania Avenue with some history. So, this week in history.
All right. November 22nd, which is Thursday.
Thursday,
November 22nd. In the year 1890, a man by the name of Charles de Gaulle is born. Not only does he have an airport named after him in France, because he's cool like that.
Okay.
He was a general of the French army in World War II, and like he was under exile while the Germans occupied France during World War II. Then he became their president for, I believe, 11 years, 57 to 68, something like that. He was president of France like after World War II.
What year was he born?
1890.
Okay. I was like, I think you said 1891 or something. I was like, or not 41. I was like, what the hell? This guy's old.
Yeah, he was 110 years old when he was president of France. Yeah. November 2nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy is assassinated in Dallas by Lee Harvey Oswald. Probably one of the like top few like important moments in U.S. history, I would say, or like 20th century history. Let me put some years on that. It's definitely one of those moments where like my dad could tell you like where he was when he heard.
I was gonna say that's a moment where people can tell you, I was here or something like that. Like, I remember being like, for us, it was like 9/11. I remember like where I was when I saw it for the first time or heard about it. JFK. For the last Above Ground Music podcast, we talked about JFK extensively.
Oh, okay.
In my class, we went through it. My history class, we went through a lot of botched investigations for sure. And yeah, you should go check that out. But definitely, yeah, one of the craziest moments. And kind of like a big moment too, because it was the first time our president was assassinated since McKinley.
Probably, yeah.
And then before that, it was there's been attempts like on Teddy Roosevelt, but he survived. McKinley.
There was an attempt on Reagan.
Yeah, on Reagan. On Ford.
Yeah.
But they were unsuccessful. And then I mean, we got like the trail of assassinations after this too, because JFK's brother, Robert Kennedy, was killed.
I actually have one of them in here.
Oh, okay. And then Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. There was just like, it was
tumultuous times.
Yeah, it was weird. That was violence in like the equivalence of what we have today in like, I guess, school shootings. I guess like that's how like big events like that are remembered in a way. Because like there wasn't like anything that was like really, really reported besides like the assassinations that like I could think of like on like very violent kind of crimes, I guess.
I suppose. I guess I get what you're going for, I guess. But
you know what I mean? Like like what's in the what's big in the news and like what people were really talking about, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so. I don't know that I necessarily agree, but I think I know what you're going for.
Well, yeah, it's just who gets assassinated these days? I mean, the guy in like Turkey got assassinated by
the reporter.
Yeah, that guy. But there's not as many like figures like the president.
Yeah, but I still like separate like a school shooting from like a president. Like if Donald Trump was shot, it would be.
Well, I'm talking about like just the violence of it is what I'm comparing it to. Like the violent, parts of like crimes and the news. Like the equivalent of that.
Yeah, I suppose. 1 year later, in 1964, there was a ceremony marking the anniversary of Kennedy's assassination, and there were 40,000 people that piled into Arlington National Cemetery to like hold like a vigil basically for Kennedy, like on the anniversary. And he's buried there at Arlington and has the eternal flame burning at his grave. So I think I asked you this last week. You've never been to Arlington, right? Okay. It's pretty cool. November 22nd, 1995, on a very whole different note, the very first feature-length film made entirely with CGI is released. Do you know what movie this is by chance?
Toy Story?
Oh, very good, very good. Yes. I was
Thanks,
actually
you
surprised
guys.
that like Toy Story was the first one and there wasn't one before this.
Well, because everything was all hand drawn
Yeah, I guess.
before this. I
So
think
like-
stuff have had like CGI in it before, but not
But
at
not
the
like a full
yeah.
movie.
Like
Yeah.
it was like basically making a video game, and then with the like when you play Halo, like map maker or whatever, that's what it is. It's all you create and then you just make the scene. You just press play. You just move the camera around
Yeah.
and stuff.
November 23rd, 1981, Ronald Reagan gives the CIA authority to recruit and support Contra rebels in Nicaragua. This kind of kick-started what became known as the Iran-Contra, not like scandal, like deal, I guess. I don't know. Probably like Reagan's biggest scandal, and maybe even the biggest one since like Watergate for like U.S. politics. I can't think of like another one off the top of my
Carter
head.
didn't really have anything besides just the tail end of his administration with Iran and the embassy and stuff.
Mhm.
Ford didn't really have it. He just got it was unfortunate that he ended up where he was because he was Speaker of the House. Clinton. I mean, obviously Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, but that would have been after Reagan.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think there's anyone since Nixon basically.
Um.
Well, there's only like two presidents before, basically Nixon, so that's not much of a
Right. Yeah. I
gap to
Yeah.
have like that much scandal, I guess.
And November 23rd, 1992, the very first smartphone is unveiled, and it is a IBM phone called Simon. Let me
What?
look. I'm gonna look up what it looks like real quick.
That's not a smartphone, bro. This is a
I don't
smart.
know. You'd be surprised, like how like old the first versions of like a lot of technology are.
I know, but wasn't the iPhone the first considered smartphone because you can actually go like you can go on the internet and stuff. Like I mean, you could go on the internet with older phones, but I meant like at like this level. That thing must have been like a big brick.
It looks like basically like the old home phones used to look like,
Really?
except it was a touch screen.
Oh, so that's what they probably consider smart.
I don't know, maybe. It was 8 inches long, 2.5 inches wide, and 1.5 inches tall. So yeah, so it's like approximately like the old like home phones or like a payphone kind of size thing. It had 1 megabyte of memory and 1 megabyte of storage. It had a microphone, a touchscreen with a stylus, a 4.5 inch by 1.4 inch display, and it did have a dial-up. You could have a dial-up connection. It had its own modem, 2400 bits per second. So like my internet, for example, at home is 50 to 75 megabits per second. So it's like 1,000,000 bits per second. This was 2400 bits per second. So like literally like 0.01% of the internet that I have in my house right now.
Like all the technology from
But
like
it's a smartphone. It has
like-
internet.
the early 1980s all the way to now, like I can't like 10 years from now you're gonna look at this one, you're like, this is a piece of crap.
Yeah, I know.
And then you go to that. What year was it came out?
This was 92.
92. That's can't do the math right now. It's almost
26
it's almost 30 years.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah. I
Almost
think
27.
and like there was a weird period from like 85 to like 95 where just so much wasted technology. Like, oh dude, check out this new like phone I have, and it's this big. It's like this big. Sorry for people if you're not watching, but like yeah, it's oversized and and like it was no way it was gonna stand the test of like it was gonna be irrelevant for like 2 years, and that was it.
Oh, well. Now you know the first smartphone was in 1992. There's all sorts of, if you were to look up, like I think like voice to text is another one of those things where it's like that existed in like the 50s. But like was never implemented in the way we use it now, like with phones and stuff until recently, sort of thing. But like, there's so many of the like what we think of as somewhat new features that existed a long time ago, but in like very limited uses.
Well, people are stupid. So
anyway, November 24th, 1784, the 12th president of the United States, Zachary Taylor, was born. So he would have been president in like the 30s,
no,
1830s ish.
He was one of the generals during the Mexican American War, and he was just like Andrew Jackson and Eisenhower. Just no one really knew his politics until he got into office, and I think he died in office too, I believe. And then maybe, yeah, I think he did. And then Polk. No, I forgot who took office after him if he passed away. I don't think it was John Tyler. Maybe it was. No, because I thought John Tyler was with Harrison, and then Harrison passed. I'll have to double check. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all I know.
Okay.
He was a general. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 generals? 5? 5? Right? Washington.
Are you counting Washington? Okay.
Washington, Jackson, Tyler, Grant.
Taylor. Not Tyler. Taylor.
Taylor, sorry. Grant.
Eisenhower.
And Eisenhower. Right?
Roosevelt
was like a lieutenant or like a captain at most. Who isn't a general.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Or maybe one of the, I think their grandfather Harrison, he was in the military, but I think he was like at most maybe a colonel. So.
Okay. November 24th, 1859, Charles Darwin publishes On Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. So like one of the more, I don't know what the right word is, but
challenging.
Like, yeah, that's probably at the time one of the most challenging.
It was just
like challenging to cultural norms.
Like really progressive discovery, I guess. I remember what Master and Commander, I think doesn't have Darwin in it.
I think so. Yeah.
Just crazy and how simple it really was to like discover all that for him in a way. It kind of fell in his lap with the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah, well, it was like he lacked any scientific evidence at the time. Like he even said himself, like if there aren't basically fossils and skeletons found, like then he's wrong. Like when he published it, like it was like nothing but a theory. Yeah. Obviously, like he went to the Galapagos Islands and like studied that stuff, but
I mean, it's like the first guy that kind of it's a big thing for biology in general. Like the people that discovered like the atomic bomb, like the people that when Einstein wrote the letter to him to Roosevelt, like he said, like we don't know if this is possible yet. This is just all theory, kind of like that in a way. But like before Einstein, there was other physicists that discovered all that stuff until it got to Einstein and all of his kind of not comrades, people of his colleagues. There you go. So stuff like that's kind of interesting, I guess. But Charles Darwin, yeah, shout out. I want to get a picture of him, hang him up in my room, stare him in the eyes.
Back on the Kennedy line of history, I guess. November 24th, 1963, a man named Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald in a Dallas police station. He shoots him.
Jack Ruby. That's all sketchy. Oh man, that class I'm taking right now. Jack Ruby was a guy that ran a casino in Louisiana, I believe, and was also a guy that helped smuggle drugs through Louisiana, which is like weird to like find out, and then find out that he killed Lee Harvey Oswald. There's a lot of just sketchy stuff, dude. Oh my god, and a lot of documentation of it too, which is like what? Okay, this all adds up to something.
November 24th, 1977, Greece announces the discovery of King Philip II's tomb. King Philip II, obviously, I guess, famous for being the father of Alexander the Great. He was king of Macedonia. Was it Macedon at the time though? I don't think it was Macedonia. I'm not sure, but what is now Macedonia? I think it was
maybe.
like Philip of Macedon and like Alexander of Macedon.
Is that why they call that dinosaur mastodons?
No,
because of like it's like a pike. No, okay.
I don't think so. But I mean, I guess I've never heard that, but I don't think so.
Well, because it's kind of it sounds similar.
Okay, sure. I'm not sure. Maybe they do. Look it up. So yeah, kind of a big. We talked a couple weeks ago about. I think I actually skipped over it.
Is he in this Odyssey at all?
This would have been. Oh,
this would
have been after Odyssey.
Because Socrates, and then after him it's Plato, and then Aristotle, and then Aristotle is the one that was a teacher for Alexander the Great. So after maybe it'd be interesting if you run into him as a young kid or something like that. That'd be kind of interesting.
Maybe. But Macedonia isn't one of the.
I'm just saying.
I don't think it is. I don't think Macedonia is one of the places you can go.
But still, it's in the Greek world. It'd be cool though. Maybe as an add-on where you meet young Philip.
Perhaps.
I would enjoy that. It's Philip II though, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you meet his father.
Sure. November 25th. November 25th, 1992, the Federal Assembly of Czechoslovakia votes to split into two separate countries. And at the beginning of the year, January 1st, 1993, the Czech Republic and Slovakia are founded as two separate countries.
Yeah, it's always weird to even
all the Balkan states are like
it's a cluster.
There's a lot of them.
It's a cluster.
They're like constantly dividing.
And there's so many. But it makes sense because there's not one set of cultures and people there.
Yeah.
Just because just the many of people that have come in and invaded, and they're kind of just like a bridge, unfortunately for everyone. And they've been conquered by basically everyone when you think about it. It's kind of crazy.
This is true. November 26, 1863 is the very first Thanksgiving, a holiday enacted by Lincoln in like the vein of Washington, because like Washington, it was like kind of just like a tradition then. It wasn't like an official holiday. And then like Lincoln made it an official holiday. So I believe it's like the third Tuesday of every month. Fourth Tuesday. I forget what like the rule is, because like obviously I think
Thursday.
Like
Thursday.
Oh, sorry, yeah, not Tuesday. Thursday.
It's the mark of all the genocides we did in that time. That's what we're really celebrating. Yeah. Sorry, no.
Okay. So yeah, obviously this week in the U.S.
I'm sorry.
Is Thanksgiving. So
my professor told me that it's a war holiday. I was like, what? You're crazy, bro.
Okay.
I don't know.
In other news, November 26th, 1917, the Bolsheviks, having recently taken control of of Russia. I guess it wasn't quite the Soviet Union yet. The Bolsheviks withdraw the Russian army from World War I. They sign a peace treaty with the Central Powers to withdraw themselves from World War I. The war ended like not that long after anyway, like a year or so after. So it probably didn't impact anything one way or the other significantly anyway. But possibly extended the war by a little bit, just because like Russia wasn't involved.
Yes, but also which is weird to have dropped out of a war like that because your government like basically crumbled.
Yeah,
which is weird. That one movie was it Anastasia. Kind of learn a little bit of the Russian Revolution out of that, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, that's where Lenin comes into the picture, and you see socialism or communism, which is like socialism, in a country of that size, being kind of implemented for the first time, and that experimented.
Right.
That experiment at that time.
First like Marxist experiment basically.
Which is kind of It's a kind of a big moment in or just human history, I guess. I would say. I would say it's like it's a big moment to look at it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it turned out to be a pretty terrible thing, but
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You learn from history.
Yeah.
I would put it up there, just cause, and the time period. It's just a weird time period. I just watched a World War I movie not too long, or like this past week.
War Horse.
No, it wasn't a War Horse. I had the kid from Ender's Game. I had what's the dude that plays Vision?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Paul Bettany.
Yes. And have you ever watched the Hunger Games movies?
Not all the way through.
Well, have you watched the second one?
Sure.
The guy with the Triton, I guess. He fights with the Triton basically.
Okay.
He's in it too. And then the one of the Red Skull assistants from Captain America, the guy that's in the computer in Civil War.
The guy that's in the computer.
Yeah, when they go down, him and Rosanoff go down into the little old base, and then like he's like talking. They're talking to him through the computer.
Yeah. Okay.
That guy's in it too.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of guys.
That takes us to World War II.
Ooh.
Kind of, or like a little bit before World War II.
Translation.
Poland renews a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union in order to protect itself from Germany. Spoiler alert. Didn't go so well.
Yeah.
Because the Soviet Union went behind their back with the Molotov, something that starts with an R, I think. Molotov something pact. I always forget the second name that's involved with it. Anyway, Germany and Russia basically agreed to split Poland, and they both invaded Poland. And
I think they call it the Soviet Nazi Treaty.
I think that's another name for it. Yeah.
Okay. Or something like that.
I'm gonna Google it real quick just because I'm curious. So basically, Poland was trying to protect itself from like the growing Nazi Germany, protect itself by aligning with the Soviet Union, and as a way of like deterring Germany from invading them. But didn't work out so well because, like I said, Russia stabbed them in the back. Let's see if I can find Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, also known as the Nazi-Soviet Pact, was like their agreement to split up Poland. And obviously a lot of terrible things went down in Poland as a result of that. But, of course, I closed down my list of dates here. Let me pull that back up. Pennsylvania Avenue. All right, moving on. We have 2 more days here. November 27th, 43 BC. Way back when. Octavian, Antony, and Lepidus form what's called the Second Triumvirate of Rome. And I had no clue what a triumvirate was.
So you Googled it.
So I Googled it.
What was triumph?
So basically, the first triumvirate was like Julius Caesar and like 2 other dudes whose names are escaping me at the moment.
Okay.
And like they basically like were in control of all the land that became the Roman Empire.
Okay.
And so there was a civil war, and like that civil war is where Julius Caesar like rose to power, and like he became Caesar. And so very similarly here, so like Octavian controlled like some of North Africa and Sicily and Sardinia and like some other stuff, and then Antony had like I think most of like like Western and Central Europe. And I forget where Lepidus's territory was, but like they formed like an agreement to like merge. So like Italy, like where Italy is now, was like kind of ruled by all 3 of them, and then they had control of various lands. And then they eventually ended up in war again. Spoiler alert, because that's always what happens in Rome. And Octavian is Caesar Augustus.
Mm.
So like when Octavian took power after the second triumvirate and like the war that followed, and like he's Caesar Augustus. So
yeah, because he changed.
There you go.
Did he change his name?
Julius Caesar didn't, but Octavian did.
Yeah, that's what I'm
apparently.
saying. Yeah, he changed his name.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't actually. There wasn't too much going on November 27th. I found it interesting. So like I researched that one a little bit.
So what, Cleopatra the Second or something like that was around this time? Like the Cleopatra that we know of?
Yeah, I think so.
With that was I've always heard stories about how Mark Antony and Octavian fought, and like she was like in the middle of all that stuff for some reason.
Yeah. Our last day for This Week in History, November 28th, 1919, Lady Astor becomes the very first woman to be elected to Parliament in the UK. And also November 28th, 1943, Churchill, Stalin, and Roosevelt meet in Tehran, which is in Iran, the capital of Iran, to discuss like kind of what they all want to get out of World War II, sort of thing, and how they want to handle Nazi Germany.
Well, they were the big players there. There was definitely other countries that I believe that were there, because I remember watching a like Vietnam documentary, and like whoever was in charge of France, or was supposed to be in charge of France after him, that's where Roosevelt told them that they were gonna get Vietnam back. And what we had in, I think we had like what would be considered the CIA at the time would be the OSS. We had OSS like Army, like it was kind of like a Green Beret, because the Green Berets weren't created until like Vietnam, I believe.
I'm not sure.
So like basically they were like Green Berets in Vietnam fighting with the Vietnamese against the Japanese.
Oh, okay.
And like we were actually fighting with the Ho Chi Minh, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. There was a one that I skipped that was a couple days earlier. I think it was like November 24th in a different year. I think it was 1942. There was a similar meeting where it was Churchill, Roosevelt, and whoever was like in charge of China at the time, and like they had a very similar meeting where like they were discussing how they were gonna go about like fighting Japan, but Stalin refused to show up because he did not want to
acknowledge.
Right, he didn't want Japan to come after Russia because they were like talking with China, basically.
Well, also Mao. I mean, he probably knew Mao was around at the time too, so he probably wanted to endorse him. And then you got the Kung Mao out of there, because he obviously took over China in the late 40s. So interesting. Oh, it's a big old chess game right there, man.
Chess game?
Yeah, it's a chess game.
Chess game, okay.
Yeah, between countries and like that. So weird. So, like I said, the biggest resource that we got out of World War II were scientists.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I would compare that to any other resource we got out of that, or like the world power. Like, yeah, that's nice, but we got scientists out of that, dude.
We didn't get any land though.
I mean, we got Philippines back.
Well, yeah, but the Philippines were already ours.
Yeah.
Did you know? I did not know this, but there's actually a Philippine-American War.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't know this.
It was after, I believe it was after the Spanish-American War, and then we basically were like, "What's up, dog? We won." Like how we after we fought Mexico, basically we took like all that land. So like basically after the Spanish, we were like, "Look, guys,
so
this is what's gonna happen."
So
we're gonna take the Philippines.
Yeah, we beat Spain, and then there's like the Treaty of Paris, I think it's called, where like Spain basically gave us all their land, and the Philippines were like, "Nah, like we're not gonna accept these terms."
Well, no,
and like they formed the first Philippine Republic and declared war on the U.S. and we had like a 3-year war with the Philippines.
Yeah. So what happened was we basically did what we did with Vietnam. We helped basically the Philippines fight there. Because the Philippines fought the Spanish during this time as well while we were fighting the Spanish, and I believe we sent some help, but then in turn it like didn't go so well after that, because they were like, "Yo, we fought here, we won it, give us the land." It's all there's a little like 10-page thing on it in a People's History, the Howard Zinn book. He talks about it. Just basically talks about how we just destroyed.
Yeah, I didn't know. It was like an answer to a Jeopardy question the other day, and I was like, I have never even heard of that war.
Yeah. Well, it was like the whole Pacific is kind of just weird, and how we kind of just were like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
I guess kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is it. That is the end of our.
It's all kind of unfortunate, but it's also kind of for all of a good cause, just because of what happened in the Pacific during the time. So, and also, we wanted buffer zones, so that's what I believe. Buffer zones.
The Pacific Ocean's a pretty big buffer.
Well, no, just having islands there, so you can't really. I mean, we were all the way up at the Marshall Island, I believe, and then I won the Philippines too. But those basically all got taken away when Japan made those pushes all the way up until Hawaii, which I'm surprised they didn't like. Why didn't you just invade? At least Hawaii, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah.
So that's all I got, and that's the end of This Week in History.
That is it, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe it's also the end of this video, right? There's nothing else? let us know down in the comments down below on history, and see if we missed anything or if you have any extra input. Let us know down below. That has been it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the College Avenue channel on YouTube. And if you are following us on or listening to us on SoundCloud, Google Play, or iTunes podcast, please consider following us on those as well. Also, please give us a heart or a like on either of those platforms, or a 5-star review. Thank you very much. That would be very, we would appreciate that very much. Other than that, that has been it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Jacob and Me podcast. Yeah, that's it, dude. What we did? We good? High five. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of this. Bye.
Nanu Nanu.